Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and today we're going to talk about, the Whopper Plopper. This ought to be fun. All right, so first of all, let's talk about the different options with the Whopper Plopper. They got 4 different sizes. You have the 90, which is the little bitty ones, all the way up to the 190, which is the big old honking one. And this one I use when I'm on water with big fish, of course, but it's just a lot of fun to get blown up on this. It's hard for the fish that I've caught on it. It's hard for them to get it, but man, when they hit it, they rip your arm off. But that's your options. You go between here, and then you have a 130, which is about a couple, 2 or 3 centimeters longer than the 190. And then you have a new 110, which I don't have yet. So with those options, you have the ability to be able to match the size of the bait fish or whatever you think the bass is hitting. Number 2 is the rods. The rods you want to use for like the 90. You can get away with a medium moderate action rod, something you would throw a crankbait on, or a medium heavy moderate action rod. But I would not throw it on a stiffer rod like a medium heavy fast action. And it would just be, you just have a hard time casting it, and you might end up ripping the bait out of the fish's mouth with that heavier rod. The 110, which I don't have, you would throw on a medium heavy rod, just a regular medium heavy, maybe a 7'3" jig rod. You could throw it on a medium heavy moderate as well. The 130 I throw it on a medium heavy fast action, a jig rod, a 7'3" medium heavy. And then the 190, I throw it on a heavy swim bait rod. So those are the different rods I throw it on there. Line, it's a topwater bait. You can fish it on fluorocarbon, but you're gonna have to hold your rod up real high to keep that line out of the water. If that line and with fluorocarbon line lands on the water, it'll sink and it'll pull your bait down. You won't get near the action. So monofilament and braid. I fish braid mostly. But when I have monofilament, it's no big deal, especially when I'm fishing the 110, the 190, or the 110 and the 90. All right, so that's rods, line, lure sizes. Different colors. Really, you only need a few colors. A white, a bone color, a black color, and my clear ones are not with me, but a clear color, my favorite one is called monkey butt. And another color that mimics maybe a bluegill or something like that. The hook's on this one's rusted, but something kind of like that mimics a bluegill. Those are the colors you really need. There's a lot of crazy colors. I don't pay much attention to them. I'm sure they catch fish somewhere, but I just don't really mess with them much. Now, smallmouth will destroy these things, but with smallmouth, you want something with a little bit more chartreuse on it, or white. I don't typically fish any other color when I'm around smallmouth. Now the reel, for me the reel is important, the speed of the reel. I always use a 7.3 to 1. I don't like to use a 8.1 to 1. I don't like to use a 7.6 to 1. A 7.3 to 1, the speed that I like to fish these things, is a 7.3 to 1 is ideal. And really the speed that you fish them, and I'll show you here in just a little bit, is you want to fish it a consistent or a constant speed. And I find that the best way to do that, or the best way to know the right speed, is when that Whopper Plopper is as loud as it can get as you're bringing it through the water. That's the speed that works the best. So let's jump on the front deck, and I'm going to show you guys how to fish it. Pretty basic, but there are some details that you really need to pay attention to. So stay tuned. All right, so let's go over some Whopper Plopper basics. Basically, the simple thing about a Whopper Plopper is that it works best when it is at a consistent speed where you're not. I know a lot of people talk about starting and stopping it and stuff like that, and yes, that can trigger fish to bite if they're following it or anything like that, and it's something to try. But 99% of the time, the fish that I've caught, the big fish that I've caught with Whopper Plopper especially, I've been reeling at one consistent speed, and that speed is where it's the loudest. So you just got to listen to it. I'm throwing one of the little ones, and we'll talk about the reason why I'm doing that. But you just, start slow and then slowly get faster and faster until you hear that bait at its loudest. And the small one is a slow presentation. The bigger ones, it takes a little bit more speed. The biggest one drops down to a slow speed again, being able to get it as loud as you can. But that's the reason I use a 7.3 to 1, because it's typically that ideal speed that I reel is on a 7.3 to 1 anyway. So Hope you can understand that. But I've got a speed that I reel when I'm not thinking that that is the, oop, there's one. Oh, I missed him. Oh, hope you guys saw that. I just started turning it. Boy, he hammered it too. Let me throw back in there. I doubt I'll hit it and get him, but we're gonna try it. Okay, another rule of thumb is a Whopper Plopper works the best when it's windy. A buzzbait works better when it's not windy. A Whopper Plopper works when it's windier. The less wind on the water, we got almost slick calm right here, but the less wind on the water, if you do want to fish a Whopper Plopper, you want to fish the smaller baits. Okay, if you got slick calm water, the smallest one they make, all the way up to, if there's a lot of chop on the water, you go up to the bigger ones. Just works that way. It's just the way it's been since I started fishing them. But you can also get caught up in a tree real easy if you throw sidearm left-handed and you're not used to it. We'll go get it. By the way, I got Jordan in the back of the boat. He's my silent partner today. He's not gonna be happy when I say it's time to go home, I guarantee you that. But anyway. Boy, I wrapped it around this tree. Doing all kinds of artwork and stuff, man. There we go. Just hope there's no wasps in it. That would suck. Got in that tree and right up on the top was a paper hornet's nest. We got out of there quick. Now, where a Whopper Plopper shines over a buzzbait is that you can fish it faster, so you can cover water faster. I catch most of my fish on a buzzbait reeling it as slow as it possibly can be reeled. But with a Whopper Plopper, 9 times out of 10, it's reeled fairly fast. So you can turn the trolling motor on high, you can run the bank, and if you're bank fishing, and you can really have a good time covering water and then finding the fish really fast. And they'll show themselves. They may not hit the bait. If they swing at the bait and they miss it, then you switch to something like an underwater something like a crankbait, or maybe even a spinnerbait or a Senko or anything that goes subsurface. That's one thing I've learned about it. If they're just popping it or they're just swinging at it but not hitting it because they don't want to come out of the water, you just switch it up on them, throw something up on it, and throw something that hits the bottom underneath. So something like a Texas rig worm, or like I said, a crankbait or a spinnerbait will work too. So one good way to fish it is to parallel the bank. And when I say parallel the bank, you want to make cast as close as you possibly can to the bank and bring it back to the boat. So you want to put your boat close to the bank, or if you're bank fishing, just parallel the bank right along the, it's easier with your bank fishing anyway, but just parallel the bank. So what happens is these bass, when they get shallow, when you get low light conditions, cloud cover, early morning, late in the evening, or all night long, these bass will get close to the bank, and as the bait fish swim between them and the bank, they use the bank to pin the bait fish, and it makes it easier for them to get the fish. So that's one of their key ambush techniques. And so you take advantage of that by making casts real close to the bank and reeling it back, and work the bank really careful. If they're out a little bit deeper, move out a little deeper. But if I'm covering water and trying to find fish, I'm throwing it right up against the bank the best I can. Hard to do it with a camera stand in the way, but that's the trick. One thing I have figured out is the Whopper Plopper catches big fish, and so you always want to make sure you keep an eye on your line. Make sure your line's not frayed or anything else. Up your on a 110 or a 190, well, I usually up the hook size on them a little bit, and I always change the swivels out, or change the split rings out with some Spro split rings that are a little bit more stout. They hold up a lot better with a Whopper Plopper, with a big fish on, I mean. So like right here, I'm pulling up on this real shallow flat. The boat's in 4 feet of water right now. I know it's a shallow flat. We've got a school of bait fish swimming around real shallow. Just ideal for there to be a bass back here. Jordan, you're gonna get hit in the head with his back cast. There we go. It's an ideal spot for a bass to be. Oh, there was a tap right there. That was a bluegill though. You notice I'm just trying to keep it a steady pace. Keep that little bitty bait as loud as you can. The faster you reel it, the higher the pitch is, and it's not really louder, it's just higher pitched. So each bait's got a different little favorite speed, but You just got to find it and fish it. That's a big old school of shad. Another modification that you can make to a Whopper Plopper is something I haven't done to this one, but is to put a good high quality swivel on the front. What happens when you get this thing hung in the grass or get a pine needle or anything around the backside is it'll lock up the prop and it'll cause the bait to spin. And when the bait spins, you get a ton of twist in your line and you literally can destroy your line in no time. So take a little high dollar swivel and put a high dollar swivel up in front of it. Something like I know Spro makes some really good ones. Those are the ones I use. I have never even looked for anything better than that. But swivels always help. Let's try out here a little deeper. But anyway, that's the nuts and bolts of a Whopper Plopper. I'm gonna spend a little while trying to catch one on it, but if it doesn't happen, you won't see it. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel, let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.